Chapter 4, Faction of the Misty Clouds. In the main hall, Xiao Zhan and the three clan elders were talking excitedly with the strange elder. The guest seemed to have something weighing on his mind, yet every time, when it seemed as if he was about to broach the subject, he would swallow back the words and change the topic. Each time he did this, the delicate girl next to him would give the elder a subtle yet firm glance. After listening to their conversation for a while, Xiao Yang grew bored and his head was slowly drooping. "Brother Xiao Yang, do you know who they are?" Right when Xiao Yang was about to fall asleep from boredom, Zun who was beside him, opened her ancient book and asked Xiao Yang, "Do you know?" Xiao Yang curiously looked at Zun "Did you see the symbol of a silver sword with the clouds on the cuff of their robes?" Zun said with a light smile. "Oh?" Xiao Yang looked toward the cuffs of the three, and indeed, there he clearly saw the embroidered symbol of a sword sparkling in the clouds. "They are from the faction of Misty Clouds?" Xiao Yang asked in bewilderment. Even though Xiao Yang had never gone out into the real world, he had read from books about this faction. Xiao Yang's clan lived in a city named Wutan City, which was part of the Jioma Empire. Even though this city was listed as one of the bigger cities within the Jioma Empire, it was still dwarfed by the size of the empire, despite having the Magic Monsters mountain range behind it. Within the city itself, Xiao Yang's clan was the biggest. Besides the Xiao clan, there were two other clans that competed with the Xiao clan, but even after 24 years of blood and strife, they were unable to overtake the Xiao clan. If the Xiao clan was the strongest power in Wutan City, then the faction of Misty Clouds would be the strongest power in the entire Jioma Empire. The difference between the Xiao clan and the faction of Misty Clouds was enormous, to the point where Xiao Yang's father, Xiao Zhan, who normally kept a strict and harsh face, was extremely respectful in front of these guests. "Why are they here?" Xiao Yang whispered. Zun's slim fingers paused. "Maybe it's related to you, brother Xiao Yang." "Me? But I don't have any relationships with them." Hearing Zun's response, Xiao Yang paused before shaking his head and whispering back, "Do you know the name of the girl up there?" Zun glanced at the girl. "No, do you?" Xiao Yang furrowed his brows as he examined the face of the girl Zun pointed out. He could not recall ever having seen her before. "She's Nalan Yangran." A curious expression floated on Zun's face. Xiao Yang stiffened. "Nalan Yangran. The granddaughter of Nalan Jie, the Lionheart commander of Jioma Empire. She's my fiancée that was set between our families before I was born." He, grandfather and Nalan Jie were like blood brothers, and at that time, you and Nalan Yangran were born around the same time. So the two decided that you guys would get married. But, unfortunately, after you were born for 3 years, grandfather died in a fight with a clan enemy, and as time passed, the Xiao clan's relation with the Nalan family became weaker. Zun paused and looked at Xiao Yang, who was absorbed in her story. Nalan Jie is not only arrogant, but he also puts extreme emphasis on promises. The marriage was decided by him, so even though your name has been quite bad the past few years, he has never once thought of annulling the marriage. That geezer sure is quite obstinate. Xiao Yang smiled. Nalan Jie has the final say in all matters within the family, so even though he really is very fond of his granddaughter, no one in the family has stepped up to oppose the marriage. Zun's beautiful eyes lightly glanced at Xiao Yang before continuing. But 5 years ago, Nalan Yangran became a student under the faction leader of Misty Clouds. In these 5 years, Nalan Yangran demonstrated incredible talent. When a person has enough power to change the path of their life, they would try their hardest to change things that they don't like, and unfortunately, she absolutely hates her promised marriage with brother Xiao Yang. "You're saying that she came to cancel the marriage?" Xiao Yang's face darkened. At this moment, he was furious, not because Nalan Yangran did not want him as her husband, but rather because Nalan Yangran was trying to cancel the marriage with the entire clan present. If that happened, his father would lose much of his dignity and respect within the clan. Xiao Yang slowly breathed in, the cold air calming his raging thoughts. Within his sleeve, Xiao Yang curled his fist, thinking, if I was a dosha, who would dare to trample over my dignity, It was true, if Xiao Yang was a dosha, then even if Nalan Yangran had the backing of the faction of Misty Clouds, she would not be able to do such a thing. A 15-year-old dosha, there were only a few that had such high accomplishments in the entire history of Do Chi mainland. And the few people that were at that level when they were that young are now some of the most influential people in the entire Do Chi world. A small fragile hand cleverly evaded Xiao Yang's sleeve and held onto Xiao Yang's hands. Zun softly said, "Brother Xiao Yang, if she really cancels the marriage, then that's her own loss. I believe that in a couple of years, she will be regretting her decisions today." "Regret?" Xiao Yang sneered. "With my current abilities, I don't have that kind of luxury." Xiao Yang paused before changing the tone of his voice. "Wait, Zun. How are you so familiar with them? The things that you've just said, my father might not even know some of them. How do you know all these?" Zun stiffened, but did not say anything. Looking at Zun's avoidance on the subject, Xiao Yang could only helplessly smile. Even though Zun was also part of the Xiao family, she and Xiao Yang didn't have any relation by blood. In addition, Xiao Yang had never seen Zun's parents, and every time he asked his father about them, Xiao Zhon would shake his head and not speak. Soon, Zun's parents became a taboo subject, something that they seemed to fear speaking about. For Xiao Yang, Zun's identity was always veiled in mystery. No matter how hard or how cleverly he tried, Zun would always stay silent. Whatever, if you don't want to say it, then don't." Shaking his head, Xiao Yang's face suddenly darkened again. The guest elder, under the repeated signals from Nalan Yangran, finally stood up. "Hey, using the faction of Misty Clouds to pressure father. This Nalan Yangran certainly is using some shameless tactics." Fury began to build within Xiao Yang's heart.